Hey everybody, in this video we're going to look at how I created this really beautiful embellished Dutch pour utilizing leftover paints. So that's coming right up and I know you're going to love this. So here we go, my friends, and I do speed up some of the footage. I mean, we all kind of know how to put a background on, right? And if not, if you're kind of new to acrylic pouring, well, you know, I've just sped this up a couple of times the speed, and you can pretty much see the basic idea. So thank you for joining me here today, and please remember that this is part of our Tuesday night premiere train. And in addition to myself and my presentation, we have Joanne of Joanne Ralstin Art, Lori of Lori Houston Art, and Nate of Nate Bright Art. So if you are here with us at the time of premiere, it's great to have you, and just keep following us one to the next to keep up with our beautiful train and take the full adventure with us. And if you are here after the fact, then I invite you to check in my description box below to find the links to my fabulous artist friends. I know you're going to love their presentations as well as my own. So here you can see I'm just using the blow dryer to spread this paint out a little bit more. I did mix this paint a little bit thicker than normal Dutch pour consistency, at least as set forth by Renske Douwne, the wonderful creator of the Dutch pour in the first place. And some artists have started to figure out that you can use slightly thicker paints and still get a great Dutch pour. So I decided to try my hand at that here. This is the first time that I'm actually using slightly thicker paints than what was set forth by Renske for the normal Dutch pour consistency of paint. I just want to see how it's going to go. So as I mentioned in the beginning of my video, all of the paints here, with the exception of some of the white, have been in storage. They're leftover paints from paintings that I have created in the somewhat recent past. Although I have to tell you, I have stored paints for as much as 5 months and have still been able to use them. I'm going to share how I get away with doing that in a separate video because it's a trick that has really helped me a lot in many ways, and I want to share it with you in case it is something that you would like to find out also. So stay tuned for that. If you're not subscribed to my channel and you know you'd like to hear about that, then definitely consider subscribing and potentially clicking the bell, but only click that bell if you really think you want those notifications. All right, so here we're popping back to normal speed. All right, a lot of this I have shown at 2 times the speed. A little bit I've shown at 1.5 times the speed. All right, now look at how pretty that is starting to open up just from the onset. I can tell you that as I'm seeing this, I'm immediately quite happy with what is taking place. All right, but of course, you know, it's not over until it's over. How many of you can relate to having a acrylic pouring painting process start out really well and then sort of bite it at the end? Don't you hate that? Gosh, I've had that happen many times, as I'm sure we all have. But hey, that is what makes the wins within this art form really worth winning, because it is a little unpredictable. So look at this footage as it's opening up in this initial blowout. It's really very pretty, and we'll start to see that some cells start to emerge here just on their own. And you know, I didn't even realize this until I was done with this painting, but I completely forgot to torch it. Go figure, right? But it still came out amazing. And of course there I'm just doing a little bit of mouth blowing. I try to keep that a little on the minimal side, but I do find that it works well in some occasions. But sometimes for me, the mouth blowing can be a place where I kind of lose the painting. Sometimes it just kind of wrecks it for me. So, you know, again, every little skill within I guess really within anything, is something that needs to be developed. And the skills that we are just more developed in, we use a little bit better. And for me, mouth blowing can still be a little unpredictable. But I think that my results in this particular painting are overall really pleasing. So here I'm just deciding where am I going to add an embellishment. I'm kind of pre-planning my path, so to speak. And here we go. I'm just going to take my finger right through that and create a little bit of interest. And I'll be adding some more lines of interest also throughout various aspects of this piece. And I just wanted to see what I could create within what would otherwise be a fairly normal Dutch pour. But honestly, I did blow it out a little differently than I would a normal Dutch pour because I knew I wanted to embellish it. So I would approach a regular Dutch pour differently if I didn't believe I wanted to embellish it. Not to say you couldn't add embellishing if you felt you needed it. But for me, I wanted to create a certain effect which required me blowing in a different direction. So there I'm just adding some swipes with my finger. And then of course I'm wiping my finger in between each time so I don't make a mess by putting my finger down into the paint again with paint from the time I swiped before. So remember, if you're embellishing in a way like this where you're dragging your finger through the paint or a tool, make sure you wipe that off before you stick it back down into the paint for ideal results. And this applies to anything that you might grab to use as a tool, or a palette knife or a marble, or in this case, just my finger. So I would say in my previous Dutch pours, I probably really wouldn't want swirls to be kind of apparent, but in this type of a look, I actually find it to be quite nice if it's done in an appropriate location and can add a nice little bit of interest. So it just kind of depends on what you're going for and what you're envisioning your overall final outcome to be. And the reason that I put it like that, like your overall final outcome, is at least it seems to me that within acrylic pouring, it's good to have a name, but within it, of course, you can only control it to a certain point, and to a large degree, you kind of cannot. So we make a plan, a little flight plan, but then we also realize that we're not really driving on a paved road, are we? So there can be some variations. So let me know in the comments below what you think of this so far, and I'll be taking you in, a little bit further in the video so that you can see some of the close-up details on this. It's really quite pretty. There's a lot of beautiful cells and lacing, and I'd just love to hear your opinion. I'm actually pretty pleased with how this has gone so far, but of course I'm going to do a few more things to it. So what I'm doing here is I'm taking some of that dark burgundy color and just adding a little bit in a couple places to make it pop a little bit. This is a little bit of an experiment. Again, most of the paints here, all of the actual colors besides the white are leftover. Even part of the white was from leftover, but I needed to create a little bit more to be able to pull off the painting. But everything else was leftover painting. For example, the color that you see in the lower portion that I originally put on across from my white was actually just scrapings from a red painting I had done several weeks ago, and I haven't shown the video for it. I don't know, there's parts of the painting I like and parts of it I don't, so I'm not sure what I'm going to do with it at this point in time. But that really pretty color down there was all the scrapings that I was able to collect off of the plastic that was beneath it. And it's a very pretty color, so of course I've kept it, and I have quite a lot of it. So I wanted to actually experiment with these colors on a fairly small canvas to just see what I get, because I have quite a bit of these paints left still, and I could potentially do a little bit bigger of a canvas with some of the paints that I still have left. But I wanted to really just try out how these colors would play together on a small canvas before I attempted to go to a bigger one. So let me know what you think of it. I really like how the colors that I have chosen here play together. Also, as you probably know if you've been working in fluid art, continuing to play with a painting can work for you or against you. It can sometimes be what kind of kills something that otherwise worked, but if you keep going, you can usually bring it back. Sometimes not, and in the case of the red painting I was mentioning, there was a lot of paint on the surface below, and that was because I did keep taking a few attempts, and I just wasn't really liking what was happening. So I collected all that beautiful paint, and I'm very glad that I did. And I encourage you to do that kind of thing too. It not only saves money, but it also gives you some beautiful colors that you otherwise would never have. Even some beautiful neutrals in the gray or kind of sandy taupe kind of ranges. You'll just get beautiful, beautiful shades that you will never get from a bottle or a tube. And they can be really quite delightful when you utilize them with some of the colors that you do get from a tube. All right, so let me know what you think of this in the comments below, and please remember to follow me to Joanne's channel if you're here with us live, and if not, get all the links down below, and I'll see you around my channel again soon. So do tell me, what do you think about all of these beautiful cells, these beautiful lacings? Look at these beautiful, beautiful details in these gorgeous close-up shots. I could not be more pleased with how this came out. And of course, the creation of it gave me a lot of different ideas, so I really can't wait to try another one again soon. And if you're interested in seeing what that's going to be about, I look forward to seeing you around my channel again for that. In the meantime, be well and happy. I'll see you back here again soon.